It's Wednesday, and you know what that means. Hopefully you can hear us.
Let us know if you can hear us in chat.
Welcome on.
We think we have it figured out this time.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Let's see if I'm as smart as I think I am. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us. We I am Alex. This is Abby.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us.
Somebody let us know in chat if you can hear us.
Can you all hear us? Thanks for joining us. We do these live streams every single Wednesday here on Facebook and on YouTube. If you're watching on either of those platforms, if you're watching on YouTube, like the video. If you're on Facebook, heart it and share it with all of your
We just dropped
friends.
Half of our viewers. I don't know if that's just because they don't love us or maybe they can't hear us. Stacy, does that thumbs up mean you can hear us?
Type, we can hear you.
We're figuring out new, if you're not sure, we're figuring out new setups to make it easier for you guys to see what we're doing.
And less,
okay, perfect.
And
good deal.
Less wires for us.
Good to know. We just lost half our viewers just when we showed our faces.
Yeah, right,
so
right.
that's the reason. Not that you guys can't hear us.
Right. But yeah, this week we're going to be looking at this cool temperature project.
A couple of different project ideas, actually. So
that's okay.
Before we get started,
that makes sense because we're taking the audio from the phone and the video from this, so the audio might be out of sync.
That's weird.
It's fine.
We'll figure it out.
Nah, we won't, but it'll be fine.
So before we get started, looking at some of these projects, I did want to mention that we've got 2 coupon codes tonight. If you decide that you want to do temperature projects, you can use Temp20 to save 20% off of seed beads now through Christmas Eve, or you can use Temp15 to save 15% on tonic yarn. And Alex is going to add that to our little ticker at the bottom. So how many of you guys in chat have ever done a temperature project before? Let us know.
You said temp what?
Temp
20?
Yeah, temp 20 to save on seat. You got to do all caps. Otherwise it isn't easy to read and it might be case sensitive depending on the user device. So
to save 20% on seed beads.
Yep. So let us know in chat if you guys have ever done a temperature project before. And if you're like, what in the world is a temperature project? Let me tell you. So there are a variety of different temp 15 to save 15, gotta be all caps again, to save 15% off tonic yarn. Thank you. So temperature projects are where you pick about 10 colors of something. It could be all the same kind of bead or all the same kind of yarn, or you could really vary it. And you assign those 10 colors to different temperature ranges for where you live or wherever you want to be. Just you pick a spot and you watch the weather. I'm going to share with you guys a website that makes it super easy. If you miss a few days, you can go back and see the days that you've missed, or even if you miss a few months. And then you just end up making a beautiful project. So you might have seen the project that we shared in the preview picture. But if not, we're going to switch to the face cam or the hand cam real quick and you can see.
Look at that.
So
can you still hear us? It's important. Can you still hear us? That note was already there. So
yeah, no, I saw that. Okay, good deal. So this is my temperature project from year before last. And so or no, from last year. I keep thinking, we've got 2024 in this. But so this was from 2022. So this was a temperature project that I started, and you can see that this is a multi-strand project. Sometimes I wear this as a bracelet. Sometimes I wear this as a necklace. I'm going to come up a little bit. But it's really fun and really flexible and multicolor, so it goes with a lot. So with this, I used Delica beads because, in my opinion, they're the most uniform, and I love the cylindrical look that they give. And there's lots and lots and lots of colors to choose from. So I'm just going to kind of show you guys the way that I generally store my temperature project, like cheat sheets and colors. What I like to do is I get like a shower hook or some way to store all my colors in order. And I make myself a cheat sheet. I don't really like to mark on my tubes because it'll just confuse me if I try to use the color for something else when I'm at the end of the year. So I make myself a little cheat sheet, but I keep these in the order that they are in on the cheat sheet just to make it easier for myself. And then I keep my cheat sheet, I punch a hole in my cheat sheet, and I actually keep it on the hook itself so I don't misplace it. Another thing that I'll do is I'll hook this actually through my project, or I'll put my project in a bag and then hook the bag onto the hook too. So it's all in one place. And if you need one of these shower hooks, if you place an order, just put in your order notes that you would like a shower hook and we'll send you one. So here's my cheat sheet. What I like to do is I write it out, and I write out the exact location that I look up on www.weather.gov, because it can get really, really precise on here. And there's like a couple different areas, and you might think halfway through the year, oh, was I doing St. Louis area or was I doing my actual city? I don't remember. So it helps me to write exactly what my search term is. And then I also write down exactly how many beads I'm doing per day. And then I write down the website so I don't forget. So I write myself a range here. And what I normally do, I should have done like, 0 to 9, or instead of like 0 to 10, 10 to 20. But what I like to do is, if it's borderline, if it's 10 degrees, depending on my creativity that day, I like to either choose to do a white one or a pink one, depending on what I think it needs in the project. So that's my kind of creative freedom that I implement. But if you wanted to get super specific, you would, of course, do, 90 to 99, 80 to 89, and be that precise. But you guys know me, I don't like to follow the rules. So then I put out little piles of beads and I tape over it. I bet that glare is kind of killing the vibe with this, but I tape over the top of it. That way I know exactly what color I need. A lot of people just write out what color number they're using or the title of the bead, but I like the visual. So that's the way I do it. And so Stacy says, mine will basically be 2 colors, living in the Pacific Northwest. So I'm glad you brought that up, because first of all, you can pick anywhere you want to be, anywhere that you want your temperature blanket or temperature necklace to be based off of. Or what you can do is change these numbers. So let's say it's like, negative. You can add that. Or you can do like 0 to 5. And then the next color is 6 to 10. So you can really kind of adjust these projects to be as precise and narrowed down to the temperature variances. And a lot of people even will change up the beads if there has been snow or rain, or if there's a wind advisory. So that's something to keep in mind too, that you can get very creative with these. I think Becky said that she was going to add charms in spots where there was rain or snow. And so I think that that's a really fun idea. And then a lot of people will just kind of sprinkle in another color of their section or within their section. So let's say it rained during this section. So I've got my 10 bead section. What I would do is I would do a couple of little clear beads or a couple of little sparkly blue beads in between to show that, you know, something exciting happened on that day, weather-wise. Also, what people will do is they'll mark birthdays or important dates like anniversaries, things like that, special occasions, like if you have a loved one graduate, or if you graduate or get a new job, you can kind of like symbolize that with different charms or different special beads within your project. And so that's another way to get creative with this. Now, this is just the basic idea. So from that, I want to show you some other ideas. So if you are a knitter or a crocheter or a weaver or a fiber artist in some way, let me move my camera up for just a second. And I'm probably going to stand so I can see what I'm showing you. So this is a Tempature scarf. Now, this is one that Becky started as a sample for our store in 2015. This is using tonic yarn. So you can use any yarn you want. I'm going to actually be sharing pictures of some other Tempature projects, Tempature blankets, Tempature scarves. You can kind of make them as long and chunky as you want. And then there's also other Tempature blanket designs too, other than stripes, if stripes aren't really your style. So we'll share pictures of that in the Facebook group after the stream. But I just want to show you how Becky did her cheat sheet here. So she wrote out, of course, what the goal was, what size needle she's using, what her kind of legend is, and then she took a piece of each of her yarn colors and she attached it to her legend. And then what she did was she separated the month by a row of black. So you can, like I said, get as creative as you want with these projects. One thing that I saw someone do on a Tempature scarf that I thought was really smart was that they added beads when it rained. So if you're knitting, you can use a crochet hook to add your bead directly onto your stitch as you knit it. And then, of course, with crochet, you just crochet it right in as you go. With weaving, when you're doing stripes, there's definitely ways to do that as well, especially if you're doing tabby weave with stripes, where each day is a different color. So beyond that, I do want to share a tip with you. If you are doing a scarf and you don't want a million tails to weave in at the end, I would suggest that you do your scarf in the round. So if you knit it in the round, you can actually hide all these tail ends on the inside. And you just work around on your circular needles. And then you don't have to sew the tail ends in because it's essentially a tube, but it looks like a flat piece when you wear it. So that's my tip. And then another idea that I have for these is that if you want something a little bit more, with a little bit more shape, you can actually start a basic triangle shawl with this and do a row with an increase at the beginning or end of each row. And it'll create this triangle shape. And so you'll get halfway through the year and your shawl will be super long. It'll be, I mean, depending on the yarn that you're using and the stitch pattern or stitch quantity that you decide on, you might end up with like a shoulder to floor shawl, but you'll get halfway through the year with as many stitches as you'll have on the project. And that's going to be your longest stitch count. And then when you get to the next month, you'll start decreasing, or to the next day, you'll start decreasing again. And each day you decrease. And so you can get super, super creative with the shapes of these as well. So speaking of decreasing, I should probably tell you. So you can use, like I said earlier, you can use code TEMP15 to save 15% off of tonic yarns if you wanted to kind of pick your own yarns out. And then we also have like a Tempature custom kit, I guess, like a custom curated tonic yarn blanket kit where you can tell us the idea, or you can tell us an idea of the colors that you like or the color scheme you want to go with, and we'll curate colors that we think go together. And so that's on the website too. And you can, of course, save 15% off as well on that. So speaking of changing shapes and changing styles, let's talk about other projects with the bead side, the jewelry side. So one thing that you can do is you can do brick stitch. Now this is a peyote project, but I did just want to bring this over here because I don't have a sample of my idea with this. But you can actually do brick stitch to create like a bead woven bracelet. So you can do your, essentially you're going to do your days this way, like long ways, and you're going to do your months this way. So if you do it at brick stitch, it kind of works out so that you can have like a point, and you can kind of like adjust the corners for days that, like, you know, February only has 28 days. So you can adjust that with, yeah, every 4 years, as long as it's not a leap year. When's the next leap year?
I don't know. Do I look like somebody who knows that kind of stuff?
You look like somebody with your phone in your hand. You can look it up. Thank you. So you can, of course, add in.
Drop in chat when you think the next leap year.
Oh, yeah. Everybody, let's guess when the next leap year is. So you can, of course, add in specialty beads as well. But imagine brick stitch this way. And you would get like a stitched bracelet or a woven bracelet out of it. That would be 12 beads across. And then your stitch pattern or your quantity is the days this way. Oh, Suzanne says 2024 is the leap year.
It is.
Awesome. Well, that makes your stitch pattern a little bit more uniform. You don't have to add in as many of those like neutral beads.
We'll be seeing some people
Filler
turning
beads.
Like 4 years old tomorrow. February. How many years?
I'm sure lots of people turn
7.
I'm sure lots of people.
Is it 7 years?
4. What?
4 years?
Yeah.
4 years. So like what?
Charlene says my husband is a leap year baby. So technically, how old is he? Like, I'm gonna guess he's. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna guess how old your husband is.
Yeah, you tried it.
I was gonna say, is he? Let's see,
Just
3, 4, no, 12. I don't know how math works.
Jeez, Lou.
Anyway, so another idea I have is to do a square stitch and do this one bead by bead. So you're going to create a really cool square stitch project. You want to make sure if you are doing square stitch that your beads are about the same size. So this would be a great one to do size 8 or size 6. You can, of course, do size 11 if you want. But what we're going to do is we're going to create a piece of beadwork that's basically open-ended. So depending on the beads that you choose. Oh, Charlene says he would be 17. I was going to guess 17.
Yeah.
So basically what we're going to want to do with pieces like this, where you don't want to actually plan out and do the math of how big your piece will be, unless you want to sit down and figure out, 365 or 366 days divided by however long and wide you need. You can actually leave it open-ended. And then once you're finished with your project, you can turn it into either a wrap bracelet, or you can attach loops on the ends and attach leather cord to it and create whatever you want out of it. So I like when my projects are a mystery, but you can certainly sit down and do the math and plan it out if you want. But anyway, I thought that this would be fun to do, to like figure out, either do a row of 6, or you can do a row of however many you want, and then each individual bead is a different color, and you would end up getting this really cool, almost like ombre effect that's a little bit scattered. And so I think that would be awesome. So another thing that I think is super fun and that I want to try for this year is doing a coiled project. So what you would do is you would actually start out your project in basically the same way as the Delica one that we showed at the beginning, except rather than stringing this on some kind of soft stringing material like soft flex, you would actually string it on 26 gauge craft wire. So you're going to have probably some joins, but that's okay. This project is very forgiving. It definitely can accommodate some joins. But what you're going to do is you're going to pick your quantity and your bead size, and you're basically just going to string everything all out on your 26 gauge wire. And it's okay if you have multiple spools going. You'll be able to join them in the middle. But essentially what you're going to do is you're going to take some kind of cord. It can be a pre-made necklace cord like this, or it can be just some leather cord on a spool or some rubber cord on a spool. And you're going to take the end of your wire and you're going to wrap it around the end of your cord to anchor it on. And then you're basically just going to twist and you're going to wrap those beads. You're going to coil those beads all the way around. And you're going to see all kinds of cool color transitions. It would be so beautiful in size 11 beads. I would probably do it with size 11s. That way you don't have a really thick rope like this that you're going to have to wrap around a couple times. But if the multi-strand is not for you, and if the bead weaving is not for you, but you're still really intrigued by this project, I think this is a really great way to incorporate the idea while getting something that's a little bit more stylized than a multi wrap. So I hope this makes sense. Let me know in chat if what I'm saying here about this makes sense. And if it doesn't, Alex, can I ask that you put the video for this, the link to the video for this project in the chat comments? You're going to find that. I think it's called Easy Coiled Beaded Necklace. Or it's called Easy Beaded Rope. So.
Final answer?
Maybe. Yeah, it's the third one down. How to make a quick and easy beaded rope. Yeah, so I'm really, really excited to try the coiled project because I've done so many different iterations of these Tempature projects over the years. Well, I shouldn't say that. I've started many iterations of these Tempature projects over the years. And sometimes I just get bored halfway through. But if I'm doing something new, if I'm trying a new technique and I want to see how it turns out, I'm way more likely to finish it. I don't know if you guys are like me where you just kind of like sometimes abandon projects.
All the time.
But that's me. So this is with Delicas. I do want to say if you are trying the coil project, do not use Delicas. Use like the rocaille seed beads. So by rocaille, I mean like the classic seed shape like this where they're rounded. And the reason why I say that is because you need to have something that's a little bit more rounded so that those beads don't break each other doing that tight coil. So Delicas definitely reserve either for your bead woven projects or for like stringing projects like this. If you're doing tight coiling with wire, I would highly recommend using the regular seed beads. So even if you are just hanging out tonight, not really wanting to do a Tempature project, I would highly recommend considering using those coupon codes at beadplace.net. Now through Christmas Eve, you can save 20% off of seed beads. And I mean all seed beads. So you can think about stocking up for the new year. You can save 20% off using the code TEMP20. So that's TEMP 20. And then if you are a yarn lover, or if you want to get into crochet amigurumis in the new year, or want to learn how to knit or crochet, this tonic yarn is a wonderful high quality yarn. It's 85% acrylic, but it's really high end acrylic. And then it's 15% wool. It's about a DK weight. So that's like a light worsted weight, if that makes a little bit more sense. We recommend knitting it anywhere from a 6 to an 8, but generally I like to knit it a little tighter than that. And then crochet, you got to do your own math on that. Oh, it says US I9 to J10. Oh, that makes sense. That's what I would have guessed too. I would maybe do a little tighter. So let's see. Yeah. So Kim says the coiling sounds like fun. I know. I would love it if you guys would want to kind of like keep me in check with that this year. If we all want to work on our coiled projects together and post in the Facebook group with our updates to keep each other accountable. Girl says the coiling one sounds more my speed. I know, it looks fun. I hope that it'll look fun. My goal is for it to look fun. I have good faith in the process. I trust the process. So Kim says, I missed the beginning. Can you please explain the Tempature project basics? Yes. So I'm going to hold up on the screen. Actually, I'm going to turn the light out so that glare isn't there. I'm going to hold up this on the screen, and I want you guys to take a screenshot of this. And you can, of course, rotate it once you've taken the screenshot. But take a screenshot of this. And basically, the way that it works is you pick a set number of beads or a set number of colors. Most people choose 10, but it depends on the area that you live in. So what you're going to do is you're going to pick a location. It can be where you live. It can be where you were born. Just pick a location. And you're going to pick either the daily average or the high of the day or the low of the day. I like the daily average. And then you are going to go to your favorite weather website, but my personal favorite is www.weather.gov, because this website can tell you weather for any year. So let's say you are one of these people like me that abandons projects halfway through. Well, as long as you have your handy dandy cheat sheet, 10 years down the line, when you find your box that has the halfway done project in it, you can pick up right where you left off by looking at the weather, and you have your cheat sheet. So you know exactly what area you were looking at. You know exactly if it was the daily average or the high or whatever. And then you know exactly how many beads you're doing per day. So if you are somebody who is very particular and very exact, I would recommend doing like 0 to 9, 10 to 19, rather than 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30. I just wanted a little bit of creative freedom with mine. So my thought process is just like, you know, if I want more color variety and there's a day where it's, you know, borderline, or a week where it's all the same color, and then the final day is borderline, we're getting kind of like almost there, I can choose between purple and blue if it lands on 30. So that's, of course, breaking the rules, but I think that that's okay. I give you permission to break the rules. So I like to create a little legend like this, or a cheat sheet. Hi, JC Sun. So JC Sun says, why am I getting commercials during live? It is because I am a YouTube partner. And so our videos are set automatically to have ads on them. So sorry about that, but you can go ahead and watch the replay if you missed something, or if you want to watch ad free, you can watch on, I know. I was saying if they missed anything, you can also watch the replay.
Also, they just changed the way that creators on YouTube can monetize their content, and they basically took the power out of our hands to manually put where we put our ads.
Yeah, so it just throws it in wherever.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, if you want to watch ad free, head on over to Facebook, because there's not, as far as we know, there's no ads on our Facebook lives at this point in time.
Not yet. Coming soon.
So
maybe.
Kim says, is it a bead a day? You can choose whatever you want. If you want a shorter necklace, if you
weekly average. Yeah,
you can do 5 beads a day, or you can do 1 bead a day. It depends on the beads that you choose, and the end project. This project here with all these wraps here that I can wear as either a wraparound bracelet or a multi-strand necklace. This was 10 size 11 Delica beads a day. And this is a lot of wraps. So I wanted something really long and really colorful. And you can see with some of these, I barely had these colors on here. There were a couple colors that I didn't really get to use at all. I think white I just used once. Or maybe not. No, just once. So make sure to kind of think about the climate wherever you are.
I worry about the climate these days.
Yeah. Stop. Think about the climate for wherever you're doing this, and you don't have to do 10-degree variances. So you can do like 0 to 5 and then 6 to 10, or however you want to set it up. And a good way to kind of figure out in your area, if you're somebody that doesn't really pay attention to the weather, a good way to kind of figure out the I guess range of temperature in your area is to go to weather.gov and then look at just like the yearly range. There's an easy way to do that, and then you can decide if you want to do 10 different colors, or if you want to assign your 10 different colors in a different way. But since you missed the beginning, I do want to show you my way of keeping track. I put all of my colors in order on a shower hook, and it just helps me. I know I've got my legend here, but it just helps me pour out the right beads when it's time to add beads. And then I, of course, have them visually on my legend. So I put a few beads and put a row of tape over it. A lot of people write down the color number or the color name, but I just like it visual. So this is how I do it. And then I also have a hole punched in this so I can store that right on my shower hook. And then I close it. And then normally what I do is I'll put my project itself in a bag, and then hook the bag. Like I'll punch a hole in the bag and put it on here too, just because I know myself and I know if it's not all connected together, I'm going to lose it. So like physically lose where it is. I don't mean just like it drives me crazy to not know where my stuff is. Like I just lose things. So, and then if you are wanting to do a temperature project.
Oh, you lose it. That's
stop. If you're wanting to do a temperature project with yarn, we have 15% off tonic yarn, which is our most popular yarn that people use from our yarn store. If you use the code TEMP, TEMP 15, you can save 15% off of tonic yarn. And then we also have an easy way if you don't want to worry about picking your own colors from our website. We have an item on our website that's like a custom temperature blanket starter kit. And so you can save 15% that way as well. And so here is a start of Becky's temperature bracelet. I think she did this one as a store sample in 2015. And she did this one flat just to show how most people do it. And then my idea with this, so you don't have to weave in all these ends when you're done. It's not my original idea, but what I would do is I would do this in the round and then just hide all your ends when you're done. And then my cousin, Madeline, she made a giant, like room-sized blanket with her yarn because she crocheted, and I think that she was doing, I don't remember the number of rows, but anyway, I'll post pictures of it in the Facebook group, and it will.
No, it's not frozen.
It'll blow you away. I just wasn't moving anything. I just wanted you guys to be able to see what was looking here, or what the cheat sheet for. No, I'm good. I see it moving here.
Okay.
It might have just been that I wasn't moving anything.
Anyways.
But anyway, with the tonic, we recommend either a size 6 or size 7 yarn knitting needles. I always like to go smaller with tonic to get a tighter gauge. And then what Becky did on this one was she separated the months with a row of, or 2 rows of black. And then, as I said earlier, you can get super creative with precipitation. So, like, let's say if it snowed that day, you could add a little crystal and kind of mix that in, or pick a specific metallic color to symbolize something. And then, like, let's say you're knitting or crocheting, you can add beads when it snows. Or if there's like a heat advisory, you can add a red bead if it's snowing, you can add a white bead or a silver bead. If it's raining, you can add a blue bead. So there's lots of different ways to get creative. And then if you weren't here earlier, I had also mentioned that you can really personalize these by adding in significant beads or charms to symbolize birthdays or significant life events. So yeah, those are all my ideas, I think.
A lot of ideas.
I'm trying to
No more ideas.
I'm trying to think if there was anything else that I wanted to talk about. Oh, we're up there now?
Well, we will be.
Oh, okay.
I
gotta fix my hair.
No,
I was getting wild. So, and there's a ton more projects besides what we talked about tonight for temperature bracelets and temperature necklaces and scarves and blankets. So feel free to get creative. I would definitely recommend checking out Pinterest for ideas. I'm going to prompt everybody to post their temperature projects in our Facebook group. And what do you think about temperature projects? Are you going to start one?
No. I think they're cool. But...
Yeah. Barbara says, is this for the whole year? Yes, it is. So it's definitely something that, you know, planning. Keeps you busy. But my favorite way to do it is to just use that weather.gov website, because there would be like 2 months at a time in 2022 where I forgot to do it. I just straight up forgot. And so it was really easy to use weather.gov because it records it in a really neat graph. And you can very easily just kind of sync up your beads to the graph, lay it all out the way you need to, and just, you know, move right along. And so another thing is, you don't have to do the whole year. You can do it however you want. If there's like, I don't know, if your project gets super long and you're like, I'm never going to wear this 400 wraps around my neck, you can just stop whenever, or you can change it halfway through and do 5 beads instead of 10. Do whatever you want. No rules.
Or you could do it, the average of 52, and then build that out for a bracelet.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Do like a weekly average.
Yeah, and then make it.
That's fun.
If you're not committed, to one that's this large.
To 365/366 sections or individual beads.
You could do just like a little bracelet.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And then also another thing is the bead oracle is a handy little tool to help you figure out, like, if you're thinking, okay, it's hard for me to really think about how many beads I'll need to get a certain length. The bead oracle is really helpful. Also Google, but I want to tell you, there's so much bad information when you Google stuff. A lot of that is really inaccurate.
Newsflash, the internet's not always right on everything.
So if you have a bead oracle, I would recommend pulling that out when you're planning this project. But my favorite way to do projects like this is to just pick something and go with it and see where it takes you. If you need a little bit of help planning out your project, I would highly recommend posting your ideas in the Facebook group, or posting your color schemes, whatever, in the Facebook group. And then another thing, I know I mentioned this earlier, but I know a lot of you in chat right now weren't here earlier when I mentioned this. Assign your colors with intention. So let's say you live in the middle of the desert and your favorite color you've assigned to, the 20 to 30 range, where it gets cold at night in the desert. Anyway, you know what I'm saying? Like, your favorite colors, you want to assign those in the temperatures that you use a lot.
Yeah, and the climate that it makes most sense.
Yeah, and you can check your averages on.
So if your favorite color is blue.
Sharon says, Googling bead oracle. Alex, do you want to just put a link to the bead oracles? I'll grab one real quick just to show you. I'll be right back.
We sell them on beadplace.net. So you don't even need to Google it. They're really cool. They make it, it's like a little cheat sheet, basically. Copy.
Okay.
Bead oracle.
Do you want to switch back to hand cam real quick just so I can show them, like, the information?
There you go.
Make sure we're not muted. Are we good?
Not muted.
Okay, so this is a bead oracle. This is the handiest little card that I keep with me almost everywhere I go. I also keep it in my knitting bag too, because somehow it always ends up helping me with like stitch gauge count and math. So it has all these cool little bits of information. So it'll have like, okay, are you going for? Okay, so you'll need 76 beads if your beads are 5 millimeter. And so keep that in mind with your seed beads too. Like figure out, you can measure how many millimeters your seed bead little section is. So let's say, your seed beads, you've got 5 of them laid together, and that is going to be 10 millimeters. So then you can figure out, okay, I've got a section of 10 millimeters. How many of these sections am I going to get? It's easy to figure out your inches that way. Beads are generally measured by millimeter, and not all of us keep the millimeter to inch conversions stored in our brains. So a lot of us go by inches here in the US, but so that's just one side of it. And feel free to screenshot this too, guys, because it's good information. Don't tell my boss I said that. That's a joke. So the other thing is it's going to have average seed bead sizes, but this little note here is important too. Depending on the manufacturer of the seed beads, the sizes do vary. And then it gives you wire gauge cheat sheets. It's a really helpful little card, and they're under $5. So they're nice to have. And it's like credit card or gift card material. It's not paper. So they're real sturdy. Okay. You can switch back to face cam. So let's do some hearts in chat for bead oracles, because they're the handiest, dandiest little tool ever.
For me.
Let's do hearts in chat for Alex too, because he's #1 producer on the internet.
For
beading. Maybe.
If you're trying to start your own bead show, hit me up.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, we've got people trying our door. I've got to look the other way.
What is it called? Work for hire. What is it called? Work for hire? What's the word I'm looking for?
Consulting?
No. Well, sure, but that's not.
I don't know what you're talking about. Look how dark it is for some reason.
Anyway, before we get out of here, I see we've got about 16 folks watching. Thanks for hanging out. Make sure to like and heart, depending on what platform you're on. Share with all your friends. It really helps us out. We got up to like 30 viewers tonight, and that's really amazing. So thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us.
Make sure to join our Facebook group if you're not already. It's just called the Bead Place Facebook group, and we love to see when you guys post pictures of your projects or ask each other for advice. Of course, we're here to help as well. Oh, Alex doesn't even link it. Awesome.
Oh, there we go. Nice.
The other thing is Bead Extravaganza is coming up in the middle of January. So if you're not sure what that is, it's a wonderful collaborative beading event that we do quarterly in collaboration with other presenters in the industry. Free hour-long classes all weekend.
That's weird that it is so dark.
I don't know. Oh, well.
Are we doing Friday, whatnot, this Friday? So Friday, whatnot, we'll be on there 6 p.m. Make sure to follow us over there and bookmark all of our upcoming shows. Also, follow us here on Facebook. And, of course, subscribe to Abbi Berta on YouTube.
Hey, thanks.
Join the Facebook group. The Facebook group's name is The Bead Place Facebook group. Super easy.
Yeah.
But, yeah, thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us.
We hope you have, if you're not joining us on Friday on Whatnot, A, what are you doing? But B, we hope you have a Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
And if
Happy
you celebrate
holidays.
Christmas, happy holidays, just in general.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks everybody. We appreciate
Happy
you all.
winter solstice.
Yes. Anyways, thank you all. We will catch y'all on the flippy flap.
Happy weekend.
Have a great time. Adios.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.